Hello there. My name is Mike Reardon, and I'm a teacher at Eastland Christian Academy, but I go to Valley Life Church here. And the pastor is like Patrick and the guys have been talking recently about having more opportunities to have testimonies by folks in church about the things that are going on in their lives and what God's doing in them. I'm not really a technology guy. I don't like technology very much, but because I believe in what we're doing here in Valley Life, I'm gonna go ahead and do this right now. Okay, so I got some things to share about what's gone on in my life recently, and so just bear with me, and I'll try and make it not too boring. Um, I First let me say is I have a cold right now, so if I know going and like this sometimes, sorry. Um, Back on the 16th of December, okay, my birthday, I turned 46 on the 15th of December. The day after I turned 46, I had a stroke. I had a stroke the day after, yes, on my birthday, the day after my birthday, I had a stroke. What happened was I was at home watching a football game, watching my team, the Patriots. They were getting killed by the 49ers. That was bad enough. And then I started getting kind of like a weird, kind of a funny feeling in my head and dizzy. And then my right side started going kind of numb. I'm like, I wonder if something's wrong. Maybe it's the football game. My kid Becca said, "Dad, why don't you call 911?" I'm like, "Nah, nah, nah." And then wait a minute, stroke. Yeah, maybe I'll call 911. So I called 911, and a bunch of EMTs came over from Halsey, where I live, and from Albany. They took a look at me and they said, "Well, your face hasn't fallen apart or anything, and your hands are both pretty strong. You're not paralyzed or anything, and your speech isn't any more slurred than normal." So they said, "I don't know if you want to go into the emergency room. Go ahead." So the next day, I went into Corvallis's emergency room. They gave me an MRI. Within an hour, a guy came out and said, "Hey, buddy, you had a stroke." I'm like, oh. Uh, he told me what happened was this. Somehow, a piece of my brain called the medulla, which is like at the bottom of my brain, kind of a blood clot had worked its way up into an artery called the left vertebral artery. It goes up into my spinal cord and it supplies blood to that part of the brain. That thing had become plugged with a blood clot and had done damage, good old brain damage, yes, to my medulla. In terms of the medulla is what controls like sensory input on the right side of your body, the left side of my brain, the right side of my body. Also influences like my sense of equilibrium, which explains why I stagger around like a drunken sailor now, and why my hand feels like it's asleep all the time, and my leg is kind of that way and also kind of stiff. Okay. I originally had some nausea, like I was so dizzy I would get nauseous and kind of gross. So I thought it was vertigo at first, but it was that. But when the guy came in, he said, it wasn't as bad a stroke as it could have been. As my buddy Steve McGuire said, I told Steve I had a small stroke. He said, it's like saying I had a small bullet to the brain. Anyway, what it does to me is this. If I walk around, I end up kind of like lose my balance, and I sometimes kind of fall down. Like I'll kind of like sway and like I've crashed into the TV a couple times, hit the wall at night, trying to reach for the light switch, I'll like crash into it. I've fallen into the Christmas tree a couple of times and like gotten caught up in the lights. Like, help me, I'm stuck in the lights. I look kind of like I look kind of like Captain Ahab when he was stuck on top of Moby Dick. Like, ah. Anyway, so I mean, it's kind of scary, but it definitely has some comic moments. Um, so like, if you end up seeing me fall down, I got a plan. If I end up falling down in public, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit the ground and start doing push-ups like I meant to do it. Okay, now you know. Anyway, I'm dizzy. I My right side is kind of My handwriting is kind of like third gradish now, and my right leg is pretty stiff. I have to kind of drag it. I look like I'm like a veteran of like the Civil War or something. So I have to have a cane. A cane. I said, can I get a cane with like a silver wolf head, like a lion head on it or something, so it look cool? And I got a wooden boring cane. Can I get an eye patch at least? And no, not that either. So anyway, so I went to the hospital. I spent 5 days at Corvallis Hospital. They admitted me right away, and they gave me a whole battery of tests. Like they gave me more MRIs, MRAs, whatever those things are, sonograms, CAT scans, X-rays, you name it, everything. Um, so at first I did what I always do, and I put up good old defensive humor, haha, make fun of it and be funny. And people came and saw me. It was great. A bunch of friends, all kinds of people came and saw me. They were super supportive. But when they would leave, I kind of lay there in my bed, and I feel that I couldn't really feel my arm too well. I mean, I could feel it. It was tingly. I can feel it at least. I'm thankful for that. Oh, one more thing. I have a guilt-free stroke because it was not caused by a donut. This is not cholesterol. This was a blood clot caused by something else. So I'm thankful that I at least don't have to carry guilt on the thing. Anyway, um, so as I'm laying there on my bed, some like real worry began to creep in. Like, what if I don't get better? What if what if I'm dizzy the rest of my life, or nauseous the rest of my life, or what if my arm never really works the same? And and how will I'm a teacher? How I teach the Eastland Christian Academy. How am I going to teach if I'm easily going to fall down on students and crush them, for instance? So what happens to me in these moments, and I got pretty sick earlier this year because of my kidneys, is when I'm left to myself, I begin to like think about, I don't know, I begin to think about things that matter, and I begin to have my mindset changes from silly kind of useless things to things that are more important. And I guess that's what I'm here to share about today is what I think God has been showing me in that. Um, an odd clarity came over me in the midst of this thing as I was going through it in that hospital by myself. And I wasn't by myself. I mean, my family was there, friends came, it was great, but I had a lot of time by myself. In fact, even it's kind of funny that the CNA that was put in charge of me was one of my former students from Central Lynn, Shelby Dixon, nice kid. Um, at any rate, um, I had a kind of a strange clarity about myself, and it basically, I guess it comes down to this. And part of me will look at my notes. I'm a teacher, so I write down a lot of stuff, and then I say way too much anyway. But for most of my life, I really dealt from what I feel like is a position of strength, at least in my opinion of strength. It's not like look at this. I'm not exactly an athletic type, right? I'm not all physically athletic or anything, but for sure. But at least I think I'm smart, I'm funny, and I'm good, or at least I think people think I am. And and for that reason, I guess I've kind of believed that I've done well or I've done okay, and maybe even I deserve good things because of it, and maybe good treatment from people. In fact, I wonder if I've begun to. Okay, I gotta be honest. I think I do. Although I have friends I love and I care for, I found it. I have to be honest that I find myself looking to people as the means to acquire these things that I deserve, at least that I think I deserve, like honor or admiration or kindness or very nice treatment. And then when they don't give it to me, then I feel like I can, what I should reasonably be able to expect from them for being such a great guy after all. Then maybe they deserve the punishment that I give them in whatever form that might take, in anger or ignoring or distrust or you name it. Um, I'm kind of a vindictive type, I guess. So anyway, along comes this stroke out of nowhere, and all of a sudden I'm weak, 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 very weak. I mean, I fall down, I knock stuff over. I have to hold my kids' hands, not because I'm a good dad, but because they help me to not fall down and crash and make a gigantic, huge spectacle of myself. And then so all my clever goodness Just looks really stupid now, doesn't it? And the surprise of surprises, I end up having suddenly patience and understanding for the kinds of things that used to let me down in my expectations of life, like, for instance, other people. Okay, and I find myself wondering why is it that pain and loss and weakness and humiliation plow up my hard, rocky soul in a way that doesn't happen when I have things like victory and strength instead. I don't know. When I had my kidney problem back in January through March, I had a real kind of a more of a sensitivity coming over me. And when that passed, I went right back to the smart alecky guy that I am. Here I am again, all messed up. And why is it I have more compassion? Anyway, it has also occurred to me recently that this God is taking me to this place graciously, but it's the long route. Okay, it's the long route. Like suffering is the long route to this, and that there is a shorter route called the Bible, and it can do it to me too, and just so much more directly and quickly, and without all this wailing and drama. Like if I just go to the scriptures, it has the ability to disassemble me in my yucky exterior and bring me down to the more vulnerable, sensitive person that God intends me to be. But because I'm so casual about it and I take it so lightly, or at least I kind of bat at it kind of lightly rather than letting it dig in, that God is eventually is forced to resort to something like this to get my attention. And even in this, God's hand has been very light. I mean, when that doctor first came and gave me the news that I had a stroke, he said, "You've had a stroke, but of all the strokes you could have had, this is about the best you could have asked for. It could have been much, much worse." Okay, so similarly humbling has been the outpouring of so much love and support from my family, both Jill and the kids, and also my extended family, my brother and on his side. They've been so great to us, and all these friends, and then the wonderful church, this wonderful church, Valley of Life, that we go to, and of course Eastland has been so great to me too. Just much better to me than I've been to them. Then another alarming and humbling thought has occurred to me in this, and that's this: that God could, at any moment, apply enough pain and suffering to not just me, but to every one of us, in such a way that it would just compel us to come to Him broken, humble, and just begging for mercy. I mean, He could do this to get us in the place anytime He wants to, all the time if He wants to. And if He did so, He would not be wrong if He did. I mean, this is very close to our proper posture toward Him. And yet He waits and doesn't bring this to us very often, does He? Now, I got a thought on the reason why He doesn't do this. And the reason I think He doesn't do this is because He really does love us. I mean, it's just not in a cosmic or a vague kind of sense. Excuse me, but in a really tactile kind of practical sense. He doesn't like putting us through pain. His love for us for real, and it's real. It's really real. It's really alive. It's not abstract. And sometimes I find myself thinking of God's love as kind of abstract, like He's loving us in a kind of an intentional, abstract way to demonstrate His greatness, and uses us like chess pieces to do so, or something like that. I don't know. I found Judges 10:16 the other day, and it says that God could bear Israel's misery no longer. What a statement. There's another one, I think it's in Lamentations, if I remember correctly, and it says something like that God does not willingly afflict the sons of men. I think He's really like this. He's just like that. He's good like that. You know, in my natural state, when I think I'm in control and strong, I spend almost all of my efforts, directly or indirectly, devising ways to improve my life. It's just my nature, okay? I'm like that. Or at least removing the obstacles that I think are in the way of my happy life that I can arrange for myself. And this includes people, like, you know, the irritating kid in my class. Let's just get him out of the way. Or the good kid who likes me and wants to talk to me. Well, I'll spend lots of time with him because he makes me feel good and I like him. All right. Okay, I think this is the human condition. And I think that's what the Bible, or at least a big part of what the Bible calls the sin nature. Okay? And this is why I think Jesus and His ways just seem so alien. It's because they utterly cut across the grain of us. I mean, like we're not like Him. We don't operate on the same principles naturally that He does. And He cuts across our grain. And the Bible says at one point, I should get these verses right, shouldn't I? Anyway, the Bible says at one point that the weakness of God is stronger than the strength of men, and I think I get this a lot better now than I did before. Anyway, there are people, I gotta tell you, there are people in this church and at my school in Eastland who are right now or have recently faced much greater injuries, much greater diseases, and much more dangerous health threats than I have. And it's so much so that it makes mine really more of a nuisance than a real threat. So it might be easier for me to say this for that reason, but in some ways, I find myself more serene when I'm all busted up and broken and out of commission like I am than when I'm able to, to fight and grasp or strive for my happiness myself. And then another thing's occurred to me, at least been revealed to me recently, and this is good, and that's that so many people in my family, in my church, school, students, anonymous people, so many have that I even just viewed as like, casual friends or acquaintances have showed up with so much kindness and care in the form of prayer and encouraging words and service and gifts. I mean, of just like staggering graciousness. Really, I just can't put into words how much people lay on the line here. It's amazing. So much so that the rather cynical part of me that is always kind of the cynical historian has always thought that the church's great age of being known for its love ended way back there in the first century. Well, I just had to kind of, I guess, recalculate that, and it may sound schmaltzy, but I guess it makes me want to be more kind and patient and giving too. So, then there's my wife Jill, and so often I'm impatient with her and critical of her. I'm a guy. I'm a jerk. Guys, you understand what I'm talking about? Ladies, you for sure do, right? Anyway, here she is helping me balance in public, so I don't fall down and make a disaster. She's helping me get my socks and shoes on, like I'm 5, and helping me hobble around the house like I'm a member of the AARP, and she's doing it all with patience and grace. I'm kind of a jerk to her sometimes. So, usually when something bad happens in our lives, we have to wait and see what God's purpose behind it is, but not for me this time. I've been shown right away the purpose of this, and it was this. What a selfish little creature I am. My fear is I'm getting stronger, and I think I am, but I still fall down. My fear is I'm getting stronger is that as I get better, the old smart alecky operator will start showing up again as soon as the coast is clear. It probably will, to one degree or another. I guess I better get my Bible. If nothing else, I've been reminded of this, that any real work of God in my life begins with this. I'm not as good as I thought I was. The senior class I work with at Eastland, really the honor that I have at working with Eastland this year, this class of 2013, really a great class, has chosen their graduation verse recently, and it's this. It's John the Baptist when he's talking about his relationship to Jesus, and he says, "He must increase, and I must decrease." And what a thing for me to learn. Anyway, I just want to thank all of you very much for all the meals and the kind words and the visits and the tons of prayers. And I hope if it ever the tables turn, I'll be there for you like you were for me. It's a great church. I'm very lucky. God's been good to me, and I just gotta say thank you. Anyway, I guess I'll sign up with that, but I will point out that I didn't really like this Super Bowl very much, and I don't really like the Hunger Games either. And this is my kids' room, not me, but I do like the Red Sox, and I hope all of you have a great Sunday. Thanks for putting up with a real long speech. Until next time, this is Mike Reardon, signing off. Bye-bye.